So Dr. Chang, he's a pediatric cardiologist and medical director of the heart failure program at Children's Hospital of Orange County. He is the Chief Intelligence and Innovation Officer and founder and medical director of the Sharon Disney-led Medical Intelligence and Innovation Institute at Children's Hospital of Orange County. And so we're just really excited to have him here today to talk a little bit about what's going on in predictive analytics and for children.
Thank you, Ying, and then congratulations to you and NYU for putting on a refreshing theme for a meeting, which is beyond the AUC and sepsis model. So congratulations on that. I didn't hear most of the meeting today. I was in clinic, so I apologies to anyone that did talk about AUC and sepsis model. So, but I like the theme of just being a little bit more on the ground and talk about realistic issues. So so when Ying invited me, I was giving some thoughts about what could be practical and useful, and I wanted to share with you something that we actually just started doing recently. So it's the concept of a pediatrics or a medical internet, and the name we thought of was AI4Kids, and just wanted to share with you what we have been thinking and what we're about to do. So it's about sharing insights and not necessarily sharing the data. So I just want to pause here, since I was born in New York, and really wish everyone well, especially in New York City, given what you went through this past year, and also just give tribute to the frontline workers that are still battling this pandemic, and really admire the tenacity and the dedication. So what started this was myself going to Myanmar to do a consult on some of the kids there with heart failure. And one of the kids I met that I really took a liking to was this little girl named Elsie, who was 9 years of age. And to make a long story short, I did a consult, recommended some therapies, and it was the lack of follow-up and ability to keep in touch and have a way to see her images from when I came back to the States. So unfortunately, she did pass away. And when I found out that she passed away, it really came down to a lack of ability to communicate and perhaps learn together. And I took this course during my years at Stanford with Tim Cho on cloud computing. So after I graduated, I kept in touch with him, and he asked me point blank, you know, what are some of your biggest headaches that perhaps technology and AI can help you solve? And I said, one of them is just for clinicians to be able to communicate with one another in real time about medical images or clinical issues. So a few years later, he called me and said, hey, do you want to collaborate on a potential solution? And I was really, really just ecstatic that he actually took that conversation to heart. So what he and I sort of worked on, and what he proposed to me initially was to build sort of a pediatrics internet. So we call it AI4Kids, and essentially the concept is to build edge cloud and edge servers with capabilities for all 500 children's hospitals around the world, with probably about 1 million machines of most different types, and to be able to communicate with one another, and for the clinicians to be involved in learning from each other, and perhaps think about projects. So it obviates the traditional concept and need for a randomized controlled trial. Because as a cardiologist, one of the issues I always grapple with is the old-fashioned Excel spreadsheets, sending the echo parameters of children with perhaps cancer. And why couldn't we just have these images uploaded and the results uploaded for studies real time, rather than wait years for the results to come back? So there are a myriad of issues that I think a modernization of how we handle data and how we share data and insights could really make impact on taking care of children with different diseases. So the concept is an edge cloud system to connect hospitals and machines, so that we can actually be much faster and expeditious in sharing data. So I know I heard from you that there's actually 22% of you listening are clinicians. So it's sort of like creating a peripheral nervous system to feed data and information to a central nervous system or the brain to learn from, and for all of us to share this data and information. So this is what it looks like. I know Ying said keep it real if you can. So this is the edge server. So it's actually relatively small sized. This edge server is meant for the Echo machine. So Stanford beat us and had this installed about a month ago. And at Children's Hospital Orange County, we're, I think, the second in line now in the Vanguard group of hospitals, hoping we'll recruit more hospitals, but we'll probably set up a nano pilot project trying to have these two machines actually communicate. So, so we're probably going to do that sometime later this month. But the concept again is that we have essentially an edge networking service with edge cloud applications, and I'll list those in a minute. And then this can evolve into also digital twin applications and a number of projects. Now we primarily focus on imaging right now, but the intent is to evolve that into other data sources as well, particularly I think ICU real-time vital sign data, as well as other decision support and electronic record. But we thought we start with medical imaging because that's, as a cardiologist, that's the most relatable for me and for other cardiologists as well. And obviously I have close contacts in the pediatric cardiology community. So we're starting off with images. The goal is to hopefully someday achieve my dream of any pediatric image should be and could be interpreted real time by a learning system so that no one will ever have to, no clinician will have to suffer from lack of appropriate expertise, and no child would need to suffer from no opinion from a subspecialist. And this is a preliminary group of applications that are available on the Edge Cloud. And we're collaborating with Charitha Reddy from Stanford on the Echo project. And there are other apps available now with federated learning and imaging through Medical. So these are basically companies that will sit on the platform as an app to basically effectively make use of the data as a group of hospitals. So these are some of the hospitals that have already expressed interest in being part of the Vanguard group of about 12 hospitals, children's hospitals in this case, and trying to connect children's hospitals from around the world takes a lot of time and a lot of communicating, but it's totally worth it if we can pull that off. So I think children's hospitals have a tradition of collaborating well together. So we're definitely going to count on sort of the relationships we've built through the years to connect with each other. So that makes it a little bit more interesting when you put on top of this edge, basically small edge network, cloud network for federated learning and even swarm learning, so that you can share insights and not necessarily have to share data. Although I think children's hospitals may have projects that will end up sharing data, such as rare diseases. But for medical images and projects like long-term COVID and pediatrics, I think these are kind of the projects that will have enough volume that really probably will not need necessarily sharing of raw data. But there are instances that I think sharing data will be probably necessary. So Tim wrote about this concept of crowd wisdom in a book that I was privileged to edit called Intelligence-Based Medicine. If you're interested, it's going to be a part of another book that I'm editing called Intelligence-Based Cardiology. And also we'll be writing this up in the journal called Intelligence-Based Medicine as well. So there'll be more information forthcoming in this particular topic of creating or lowering the sort of the barrier to share insights through any technological advance possible. So I think it's going to be a big part of how we share insights in clinical medicine in the future. And I know we have quite a few clinicians here as well as data scientists, obviously, but if you're interested in learning not just data science, but how it relates to clinical medicine and healthcare, I'm the privileged chair of a monthly sort of introductory course on AI in medicine under the American Board of AI Medicine. And we usually have quite a big showing, and we actually are already international. We just finished the course in Australia. We'll be going to the UK and Israel in early next year. And NYU and Ying's part of this group, advisory group, that really have a lot of input into the course. And the course can lead to an educational certification after an assessment is passed. In addition, it's really exciting that with the help of Ying and a few leaders around the country from AI medicine centers, that we're able to convene several times now under the banner of the Alliance of Centers of AI in Medicine, or ACAM. We start out with about 11 or 12, the founding institutions being Children's Hospital Orange County, the MI3 Institute, and Stanford and Cleveland Clinic. Now we have more than 25 centers from all over the world. So it's getting quite exciting to share insights from all these places. We're planning on, again, having a meeting in early December, and then meeting in person, hopefully, at the AMED Global Summit. And there's also an ongoing effort to form the pediatric group, and there's about 14 centers to date. So I think just in the last year or so, we're seeing a lot of activity on the clinical side of health systems that want to focus on data science and artificial intelligence. And of course, and these are some of the early institutes that have joined in this effort. I think what we're trying to do is, just like Ying is trying to do for this meeting, is to go way beyond publications and AUC of curves, and really bring clinical relevance and impact for our patients. And I think that should be hopefully the goal as we get mature in this area. And the Global Summit that I chair is going to be January in Southern California in person. So hope to see some of you there. And I want to thank my wonderful team at the Medical Intelligence and Innovation Institute that was founded in 2015 to focus on AI and data science and healthcare. And also my wonderful friends and mentors at Stanford School of Medicine. If you're interested in joining any of the aforementioned activities, please contact me. My cell phone is there too, and happy to make accommodations so you can be part of these efforts. So with that, I hand the virtual podium back to Ying.